Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this on-demand webinar where we'll discuss how to demystify your clients' numbers with Hubdoc and Float. For those of you that joined us during the live broadcast, we want to apologize for any technical difficulties that we experienced, and we want to thank you for taking the time to tune in to this on-demand webinar. My name is Jeffrey. I'm the Director of Marketing at Hubdoc, based out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I'm going to be one of your co-hosts for today. And I'm joined by Harriet Stevenson from Float. Harriet, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Harriet. I am the Marketing Manager for our partnership channel at Float for accountants and bookkeepers, and I am based in Edinburgh in Scotland.
Fantastic. Thank you, Harriet. We're not going to go over the housekeeping notes because these are more relevant to a live broadcast, but we want to give everybody who is tuning into this on-demand webinar the opportunity to ask questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me directly at jeff@hubdoc.com or support@hubdoc.com. And Harriet, do you mind providing a contact email for Float?
Yeah, sure. It's support@floatapp.com.
Fantastic. So if anything comes up during the webinar, please feel free to email any of those addresses, and we'll be happy to respond in a timely fashion. So on to today's topic, how to demystify your clients' numbers using Hubdoc and Float. Why is demystifying your clients' numbers so important? Because over 50% of small businesses fail within their first 5 years. They fail for a multitude of reasons. The one that we're really going to focus in on today is limited visibility into their financials, or for lack of a better word, their numbers. Other reasons why small businesses can fail is obviously lack of capital, overarching business challenges like lack of product market fit, competitive dynamic, personal reasons. That being said, what we're really going to focus in on is the financial element, the things that an advisor has control over and the things that an advisor could really help a small business succeed with. And the reality of the situation is that most small businesses fail and have limited visibility into their financials because they don't necessarily have time for them, which is why they choose to work with an advisor. Bookkeeping, financial statements, cash flow forecasting takes a lot of time, and there's actually quite a bit of complexity associated to most of these tasks. Which is why small businesses that connect and collaborate with an advisor are significantly more likely to succeed. Furthermore, small businesses that connect with an advisor that utilize cloud accounting technology like Hubdoc and Float, for example, are even more likely to succeed. 58% of successful small businesses use software to manage their finances, compared to 14% of businesses who have failed. So utilizing an advisor to get that the key advice, to get the business context, the financial context, to help them make more informed business decisions, and also cloud accounting technology to help an advisor spend less time on the administrative tasks so they could focus more time on demystifying their clients' numbers, is what really contributes to a small business's success. We're going to really focus in on how Hubdoc helps advisors automate those administrative bookkeeping tasks to achieve real-time financials, and then how Float helps advisors give their clients visibility into their cash flow to make more informed business decisions. So starting with Hubdoc, Hubdoc is a cloud bookkeeping solution that helps accountants and bookkeepers save time by automating the collection of their clients' key financial documents, things like bank statements, bills, receipts, and invoices. The reason why that's important is because traditional bookkeeping takes a tremendous amount of time, and when you're spending a lot of time doing the bookkeeping as an advisor, you're spending less time helping your clients demystify their financials and helping them make more informed business decisions. I'm sure that many of you here that don't utilize tools like Hubdoc struggle with the collection of your clients' key financial documents. It tends to be quite manual, decentralized, so clients could be submitting their documents using email, cloud storage platforms, the proverbial shoebox full of receipts. And friction-filled, when you're not utilizing a centralized solution to manage all of your clients' key financial documentation, you end up with missing documentation at the end of the month, quarter, or year. and forced to go back and forth with your client to make sure that you have the information that you need to be able to do your job so that you can do the bookkeeping, get the financial statements, and then do some accurate cash flow forecasting to help them therefore make more informed business decisions. It's estimated that up to 30% of advisors' time is spent collecting documents and doing manual data entry, as opposed to spending time on those higher value activities like I just mentioned. Most of the process is still paper-based. It's estimated that up to 25% of a firm's office space is used for storage of paper documents. Because of those two things, the average ledger is actually 60 days out of date. So when we talk about a lack of visibility into financials, yes, if I have updated financials that are 60 days out of date, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make more informed business decisions. Hubdoc helps you streamline that process so you can get your clients to a place where they have access to more real-time financial data. How do we do it? First and foremost, Hubdoc unique value proposition is that we auto-fetch financial documents from hundreds of online financial institutions, utilities, telecom providers, and online suppliers. We also give your clients the tools to quickly and easily upload bills, receipts, invoices using a desktop, mobile device, email, or scanner. Once the documents are in Hubdoc, we auto-extract all of the key data. So the supplier name, the date, the total amount, the invoice number, you name it, we extract it. Then we auto-file documentation within automatically created, neatly organized folders, making financial documents easily accessible. And with our integrations into QuickBooks Online in Xero, you can auto-post those documents from Hubdoc directly into Xero and QuickBooks Online as a transaction with the source document attached so that you can achieve one-click reconciliation and audit-proof books. Getting to that one-click reconciliation is allowing you to update those files on a timely basis, helping your clients make more informed decisions. And then we'll also show you how having access to that data within QuickBooks Online and Xero, how it's reflected in Float to be able to do accurate cash flow forecasting. So Harriet, I'm going to pass the mic over to you so that you could give a quick introduction to Float, and then we're both going to jump into a demonstration to show you how all of this comes together.
Awesome, thank you so much, Jeff. So Float is an app that integrates with QuickBooks Online and Xero to help you build a really visual picture of your client's future cash position. This is based on your client's projections, as well as data imported from the accounting software. We then automatically keep the forecast up to date with incoming invoices, bills, and transactions so that you can track progress towards or beyond your client's forecasts. This helps to demystify your client's numbers by giving them an easy to understand picture of their business's future finances, allowing them to make confident, data-driven decisions. As a result, this enables you to do less of the time-consuming data entry work and spend more time as a trusted advisor, in turn strengthening your relationships with clients. So if we could just go on to the next slide. Awesome, thank you. So what problem do we solve? Firstly, we take away the pain of forecasting cash flow manually in spreadsheets. Forecasting cash flow manually can be a real nightmare, as spreadsheets can fall out of date almost immediately. They can be very error prone, and most of all, they're time consuming. However, understanding how much cash your business has and will have in the future is absolutely crucial for most businesses. But unfortunately, because it can be so complex, many business owners do go without. So if we could just go to the next slide as well. Okay, thank you. So I'm sure a lot of you will recognize a spreadsheet that looks like this. I'm sure we can all agree that this looks really complicated, and if I was a business owner, I would not have the first idea what was going to be happening in my business just from looking at this at a glance. But on the next slide, we can see what your forecast would look like in Float. So you can see here, I can easily see that in the first scenario, the blue one, we'd be doing okay, but in the green scenario, we wouldn't necessarily be doing too well, so perhaps we shouldn't hire that new employee. So secondly, Float is one of the only cash flow apps that imports invoices and bills each day to automatically keep forecasts up to date. It's also more accurate because it's not based on an accruals-based kind of P&L, but instead it's based off of when you think your clients will pay bills and when they'll get paid by their clients, which makes it a lot more real and accurate. Many business owners do tend to look at their P&L and balance sheet and see that they are quote unquote profitable, but as we all know, that's not always the whole picture. Float shows all the ups and downs that come with the fluctuations of customers paying late, unexpected tax bills, dips in sales, and so on. So just on to the last slide there. Yeah, we're also rated 5 stars on both Xero and QuickBooks Online. And we integrate with those two software. So you do need to have a client on one of those software packages to be able to use Float. And that's it from me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So these are just a few benefit-driven messages that we like to consider when using Hubdoc, Float, and then tools like QuickBooks Online and or Xero. When you have clear visibility into your financials and you have the source document verified data attached to every piece of information, you therefore have a set of audit-proof books. Because with Hubdoc and with Float, you're automating a large part of the administrative tasks, so it allows you to focus on building stronger, more valuable relationships with your clients, because you're also providing them with higher value services other than just the hourly manual data entry and document collection. And then because you're automating most of this process, you have more time for valuable advisory services. So all in all, utilizing the technologies that we're about to show you has a ton of intrinsic benefits to your practice and also to your clients. So I'm just going to jump into a quick demonstration of Hubdoc, and then we'll show you the flow from start to finish. Harry, do you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. So as an advisor, the first thing you're going to notice when you jump into Hubdoc and you've logged in is the organizations page. The organizations page gives you a list view of all of your small business clients and the ones that are associated to your practice's account. The documents that have been uploaded and or fetched into Hubdoc and are ready to be reviewed, as well as the staff members that are associated to each of the client's accounts, and the ability to quickly and easily grant and or revoke access to staff related to each client account. I'm just going to jump into one of those accounts really quickly, Foxglove Studios as an example. So we like to consider Hubdoc as kind of like a digital filing cabinet for all of your clients' key financial documents. On the left-hand side, you have your folders, and this is where the documents live, and we'll talk about how Hubdoc automates the process of filing these documents. In the middle, you have the document stream, which is a list view of all the documents within your Hubdoc account, as well as what stage they're in the workflow, and we'll touch on that in just a moment. On the right-hand side, you have a preview image of that source documentation, whether it's PDF, JPEG, so on or so forth. And then all the way to the right, we have the edit data bar. This is where you have all of the key data that was extracted from the documentation, and then the ability to code and post documents into a third-party general ledger and or cloud storage platform, which I'll get into in just a moment. So at a high level, this is your digital filing cabinet for all of your clients' documentation. Let's talk about how to get documents into Hubdoc. So how Hubdoc helps you automate the document collection stage in the bookkeeping workflow. So first and foremost, as I mentioned previously, Hubdoc has a unique ability to automatically fetch documents from hundreds of financial institutions, utilities, telecom providers, and online vendors. The way to access these suppliers or vendors or financial institutions is to select them from our popular companies list. We also have a list view of all of the companies categorized on alphabetical order, or you can simply search for the vendor you'd like to connect to. So I'm just going to go back to my popular connections. I'm going to select American Express as an example. It's as simple as having your client enter their online credentials. So I'm just going to put them in here. And or if you have read-only or credit or debit access, you can enter them here. Once Hubdoc establishes a connection with American Express, you'll notice that the documents start flowing in automatically. Hubdoc will attempt to fetch as many documents as possible from that portal during the initial fetch. And then every time a new document becomes available, Hubdoc will automatically fetch that documentation as well. In addition to automatically fetching the document from the American Express online portal, you'll notice that the key data has been extracted. So American Express, the account name, the bill date, and the total amount associated to the statement. And not only that, Hubdoc has automatically created an American Express folder, and then a sub-account folder, and then filed those documents within the appropriate folder. So in the future, if Hubdoc fetches a new American Express statement, it'll automatically sort that document within the Jeffrey folder. So helping you save a tremendous amount of time, because not only is it automating the collection of your client's documents, it's also automating the organization and categorization of those documents. So that is just an example of how Hubdoc automatically fetches something like a bank statement from a financial institution. The bank statement, as everybody knows, is there to validate the beginning and ending balance on any given month during the bookkeeping process. I'll show you how Hubdoc also automatically fetches documents from a vendor or a supplier, depending on where you are in the world. So I'm just going to select Comcast here as an example. Comcast is a telecom provider in the United States. I'm going to put in my login credentials. I'm going to establish a connection. I'm going to reload the page. And there we go. So once Hubdoc has established the connection with Comcast, it'll start to automatically fetch all of the bills associated to that account. It'll go back as far back as possible. And every time a new bill becomes available on the Comcast portal, Hubdoc will automatically fetch that document. Furthermore, as I mentioned previously, Hubdoc also automatically created a folder and then organized the documents within that folder. So as you can imagine, the more automated connections that you set up for each of your clients, the more time you're saving, because they don't even have to think about submitting that documentation. Hubdoc is doing most of the work on the back end. But what if Hubdoc doesn't connect to one of your clients' vendors, suppliers, or financial institutions? As I mentioned previously, we give your clients the tools to quickly and upload documents from their desktop, mobile device, email. So we have a free application on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store that your clients can download, and then it's as simple as them snapping a picture using their mobile device, and it'll show up here in the document stream in their Hubdoc account. Every Hubdoc account gets associated a unique intake email. So as an example here, this unique intake email is tori@app.hubdoc.com. So if your clients get a lot of bills, invoices, or receipts that are submitted to them by email, they can just set up auto forwarding workflows into their Hubdoc account using this unique intake email. Once a document is uploaded to Hubdoc using any of the ways that I just demonstrated, it'll show up in the document stream. And then Hubdoc will extract all of the key data from those documents. Just going to reload the page. So Hubdoc will extract the key data from those documents. Some documents that are uploaded to Hubdoc, the key data won't be extracted instantaneously. It will take some time. And that's where we get into the different tabs in the workflow stream. So we have the All tab here. which is a list view of all of the documents associated to your Hubdoc account. We have the processing tab. This is where documents have been uploaded and they're waiting for the data to be extracted. So you can see here the 2 documents that I just uploaded are in the processing tab. We have the review tab. This is where documents have been uploaded, the data has been extracted, and are ready to be reviewed and published onward into a third-party application, whether Xero, QuickBooks Online, Bill.com in North America, and or third-party cloud storage platform for redundant backup. We have the fail tab, which demonstrates all the documents that the data failed to be extracted, or they weren't a financial document and the data couldn't be extracted, so they need further review. And then last but not least, we have the archive tab. The archive tab represents any document that has been published to a third-party application and or documents that require no further action, things like a bank statement, because the bank statement is just there to validate the beginning and ending balance and does not need to be published into Cloud General Ledger software. But for the documents that should be published into a Cloud General Ledger software, they would end up in the review tab, and I'll just show you how to quickly and easily code and post those documents as accurately coded transactions in Xero for one-click reconciliation and audit-proof books. You'll notice here I have the Apple receipt with all of the key data extracted. I'm just going to go over to the edit data bar on the right-hand side. You have the appropriate vendor name that was extracted, the date, the total amount, and then here I can configure this document and post it into Xero. What's great about Hubdoc's integration into Xero is that it pulls in all of the appropriate account codes and contact names within Xero. So for example, here you'll notice that Hubdoc has pulled in the contact name from Xero. I have Apple here. If I needed to create a new contact, I can do it directly from Hubdoc, and it would therefore be reflected in the Xero account. So I'm just going to select Apple here. Hubdoc also integrates with Xero and pulls in all of the chart of accounts, so I could easily, accurately code documents from directly within Hubdoc. I'm just going to showcase here. This isn't a computer, so I'm going to code it as office equipment. And then I could add a description and then post that over into Xero. So once the document is posted into Xero, I'm just going to jump into my Xero account, into the purchases section. All of these documents here and transactions here were published over directly from Hubdoc. So if I go over to my Apple receipt, I can jump in, and you'll notice all of the attributes that I provided to that document within my Hubdoc account before posting it into Xero as a transaction show up within Xero. So the description, Jeffrey's computer, the appropriate account code, the total amount, the date, so on and so forth. What's really great with our integration into Xero is once Hubdoc has created that transaction with the source document attached, if you utilize the bank feed within Xero, Xero will attempt to find the appropriate match on the bank feed and then automatically match the transaction created by Hubdoc to the transaction on the bank feed so that you could achieve one-click reconciliation. Here you'll notice that the Zoom transaction on the bank feed was automatically matched to the Zoom transaction created by Hubdoc. And then reconciling that account takes me one click. I've then reconciled that account, and I can therefore get to a more real-time financial statement because I didn't spend so much time on the administrative tasks like document collection and data entry. I just really focused on the reconciliation portion, which helped me get to more real-time financials. Once I have access to that financial statement, that's where Float really comes to life because it pulls all that information from Xero or QuickBooks Online so that you could do accurate cash flow forecasting. And now I'm going to pass the mic over to Harriet so that she can show you what that looks like on the Float side.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
So Harriet, I'm just going to pass the screen share over to you.
Great. Can you see my screen, Jeff?
I can. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. So I'm going to start here on the top left where it says total reconciled balance in zero. So if you are in QuickBooks, this will say total matched cash. So this lets you know how much cash is in the business right now up until the last time that you or your customer reconciled or matched the latest transactions in the accounting software. This takes away one of the most time-consuming parts of manual cash flow forecasting by automatically giving you an accurate starting point. And then over here, we can pick and choose which bank accounts you want to include. You can just select or unselect the ones you want or you don't want. And if I had credit cards as well on this account, they would show up here. So you can also choose to show or not show credit cards. And then this amount is telling us how much still needs to be reconciled in zero or matched in QuickBooks, as we can only pull through data that has been reconciled or matched as paid. So that's just something to keep an eye on. So I know, for instance, I need to go in and do some of my bank reconciliation in Xero to keep this up to date. And then below that, we have the cash flow graph here. And this is telling me what this client has had in the past in these shaded 3 months here. I can mouse over the line and see what has happened in the past, as well as what we think is going to happen in the future. And this future line is based on a few things. It's based on the bank accounts and credit cards included. It's based on due dates for upcoming invoices and bills, possibly coming through from Hubdoc. And it's also based on the budgets that you or your clients enter into Float. In here, you see all these numbers. Those are the budgets that have been entered in, and the dates of those affect when this line goes up and down. We can view this line on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Days is great, probably because it shows you all of the ups and downs and peaks and troughs that you wouldn't see otherwise. And you can move this forward up to 3 years into the future. And you can jump back to today as well. And then this, if we toggle over to budget progress, this is telling us how much cash has been received and spent in past months. So green being cash in and red being cash out. So I can see I received more cash than I spent in July, which is great. Whereas in August, it's looking like I might spend a little more than I receive. And that's based on, you can see the dark green and red shades being actual money that has been paid and reconciled. And then the middle green and red shades being cash that's due. So that's invoices and bills. And then the outlines here are the total budget. So what we enter into Float, adding it all the way from the cash in to the cash out there to see. So here, for instance, we would be exceeding our cash in budget if we actually reach this target. And as well, we would be exceeding our cash out. So we need to probably come and have a look and update some of these budgets to reflect what's really happening. I will also jump over and show you quickly these invoices due and bills to pay tabs before I jump into how to set up a forecast. So looking at invoices due, we can see that we have a couple of notifications here letting us know we have some overdue cash. So if we're looking at invoices due, this client has got 6 overdue invoices totaling about £7,000. And this is causing inaccuracies in this client's cash flow because if a client has any overdue bills or invoices that haven't been reconciled in Xero or matched in QuickBooks, then Float assumes that they're going to get paid today. So it is really important to come in here as part of your workflow and regularly update these payment dates, and whether that's yourself doing that or something that the client takes on, or maybe it's something that you do together when you meet up with or speak to the client, you just need to come in here and have a look at the original due date that's coming through from this Xero account. But what we can change is the expected payment date. So we can either individually do that by clicking into each one and changing that date. So I can move forward into the end of August, save that. Or we can select multiple ones. So I can just select these two and just say, okay, batch actions, expected payment date, and just move that as well towards the end of August. And if I apply that new date, then those two will have disappeared from this overdue section and moved down into this not yet overdue section. Another cool thing you can do here is you can search by client. So I'm just searching for all the City Limousines invoices. And maybe they've said they're going to pay all of their outstanding invoices to this client by the end of September. So we can scoop those forward into the future, put on the last working day in September. There we go. And they've all moved down now. So we're kind of clearing out some of that cash that is overdue. So we've just got one more to do. So I'll just update this one, put that as well on the last day of this month. And we're done. So that is one of the cool things you can do in Float, is really manage that cash as well as forecast. So it's really looking into the invoices and bills and looking into the detail that you wouldn't get in a spreadsheet. And same thing goes for bills to pay. So bills to pay being money that the client owes rather than money that they're owed. So same thing, you can search, you can change expected dates. And another thing you can do in both sections is you can ignore things. So say this client just didn't want to factor in these bills, they can exclude this from their cash flow. And then if you wanted to see what's been excluded, just click on this and you can see these two. So then nothing's happened in the Xero account. They're not deleted. They're just kind of hidden for this client's view, but we can always re-include them back in the cash flow. So that is one of the cool things you can do with Float. Jumping back to the cash flow table, scroll down, and then just a quick word on the data that we push and pull from Xero and QuickBooks Online. We don't actually change any data in Xero QuickBooks. So the sync is just a one-way sync. So you don't have to worry about changing something like an expected date in Float and having that change in Xero. Float's very much intended to be a safe place to model different hypothetical situations. So Xero and QuickBooks are the points of truth. So if you make a change in one of those, we will pull through those changes automatically every 24 hours. That actually shows here when the last sync has been. And if you do want to pull in any recent changes that were less than 24 hours ago, you can just click this button and the refresh will happen right away. So, jumping back to the cash flow table, this is where you'll see all your clients' cash coming in and going out, and also where you'll enter their forecasts, which is a crucial part of using Float. So you can see we have the client's chart of account categories grouped into cash in and then cash out. We also have net cash movement at the end as well as the end balance. You can go back into past months and click on them to see what has been spent and received, as well as how much of the budget was paid. So I can go back into July, have a look at this. I can click on here, say, okay, about 6,500 was paid. And that was made up of 2 invoices that were paid from these 2 clients. So you can click onto these and get even more information that comes straight through from Xero. And all of the line items, the date, everything like that, invoice number. So it's all there for me. If I had a budget worked out as well, I can just add this in just to show you. So let's just say that this was maybe 5,000. Cool, so we can see, okay, the budget was 5,000, but we exceeded it. We actually got 6,000 for this client, 6,500, sorry. So we can see if you X out of that and you just look in this view, you can see, okay, 6,500 of 5,000. That's telling us that we have exceeded that. So that's always good to know. So I can close that down. And in terms of entering forecasts into the future, what you do is just click into the month that you want. So I'm just going to look at this August column here, and I'm going to change my advertising and marketing row here. I can see they actually already have a couple of due bills from these 2, from this agency, and I've already had one paid to Hoyt Productions for this client. So what we can do is perhaps this is actually meant to be paid in September, so I'm going to move that forward so we can see how that works. I'm just going to pop that. This is another way to change the expected payment date, so you have 2 ways there. Move that forward, and that will just leave this view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a budget. So I'm going to click on Create Budget, and this client has both a Facebook and a Twitter advertising budget, and they go out on different days and with different amounts. So what we want to do is we want to put in the total figure of cash that we expect this client to spend, including tax, and then we'll put the date from when they actually expect to spend it rather than be invoiced for it. And that's really the key difference between a cash flow and a P&L budget. A cash flow forecast shows the cash movement for when your clients will actually spend and receive money, which does make it a lot more accurate and a lot more real than a P&L and balance sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in this client has a Facebook, sorry, spell that right, Facebook budget for their Facebook advertising, and that's going to be 1,000 per month, and that's not just this month only, it's actually all future months, and that one is paid monthly. So that's going to go out on the 1st of the month. So I'm going to create that. So that's Facebook. We also have a Twitter budget, and that's actually paid every week, and that's about 150. And we're going to say all future months because it does reoccur, but that's every week, and that actually gets spent on a Wednesday. And then we create that budget, and then we can see two budgets have kind of stacked on top of one another, and depending on the number of weeks in the month, it will total it up for you. So we can see that we have 1,000, we have 750, and they add together here, 1,750. So if I close out of that, we can now see each month we have slightly different amounts, basically depending on the number of Mondays in that month. Oh, sorry, Wednesdays in that month. So we can see progress towards that as well. So we're going to be spending 7,954 of that. So this month we will exceed that. So that's one way that you can enter budgets. Another way is you can use a spreadsheet input. That's if you have a forecast already worked out for this client, you can easily click on this and you can just copy and paste it straight into Float. The one thing is with that option, you don't get as much granularity on the date that you set those and the frequency. But if you have it as a starting point, it can be really handy to get started quickly. So I'll just close out of that. So that's spreadsheet input is where I just went. Awesome. So I will also show you our scenario planning tool quickly before I move on. We have this scenario planning feature here. And so sometimes your clients will want to model different hypothetical situations to help them make better business decisions. So this feature allows them to ask what if questions and pull through all of the same figures from the client's base forecast, or basically their official forecast, and tweak them slightly to reflect a different future situation. So right now we are looking at our base forecast, but we can add a scenario layer to see what might happen if we hired a new employee, for instance. So you might do a scenario for anything. So it could be increased or decreased sales, if a project falls through, or a late payment, or any number of things really. So you just click add a scenario layer, enter the name, and then choose the color. So we'll call this new employee. Choose a color and then add that layer on top. So right now it looks like there's just one line on the graph, but don't worry, they are there. One's just sat on top of the other. So what we would do is we would scroll down to our payroll lines and increase our forecast. So I've actually got this little group that I made for payroll just to make it easier to view. So I'm going to go into my salaries row and I'm going to add an increased amount for salaries. So this is a new employee and let's make it £2,000, all future months. If you do pay bi-monthly, that's no problem. You can do two different budgets with different dates. But just to keep it simple, I'm just going to make this every month on the last day of the month. Create that. So now we've got this £5,000 coming out for this client every month. And we also have a couple other taxes to pay, so I can just add that in quickly. So this is also a new employee. Maybe this is my first employee, so I'm going to have to start paying tax above and beyond what I pay from this client. So that's going to be 150 all future months, and that's paid on the 15th. So just as an example. Great. So then if we actually go back up to the top, oh, sorry, I should say, this turns to the color of the scenario anytime you change anything. So this will easily let you know if you've what you've changed in this scenario. So going back up, we can see the 2 lines divert on the graph. And we can see, by December, this client wouldn't be doing too well if they did hire a new employee. So perhaps it's time to think about, if they really have their heart set on hiring someone, bringing in some funding, or if they expect this to be a salesperson, perhaps we can adjust for some increased sales within a couple of months of them starting. So then you could go into your sales row and add an increased amount of sales on top of that. So it can be as simple or as complex as you like. But it's a really nice way to play about with different future situations that could happen. So, and if you are one of our partners on Float, one of our accounting or bookkeeping partners, each of your clients gets 10 of these scenarios to play about with. Just a couple other tabs to show you before I finish up. We have the daily breakdown tab. This is showing you basically like a statement from your bank of all the cash that's come in and gone out in the past, and also what we're expecting to happen in the future. So I can go back up into June and take it down towards the end of October and see, okay, everything that happened in June and how it affected the bank balance. So if you do have a client that is quite cash conscious and they really want to keep a close eye on their cash, this might be a good place for them to have a look. And then you'll start to see remaining budget for different items. And this is just letting you know that anytime you set a budget, so say you set a £10,000 budget or dollar budget, and then 4,000 of that gets paid, it doesn't make it into 14,000. It actually keeps it as 10,000, 4,000 of which has been taken up. So it's going to tell you there's remaining 6,000 left. So the budgets in Float really do act as empty placeholders that then fill up as the month goes on with actuals and invoices and bills. So that's the daily breakdown. We've had a look at these 2 tabs already. I'll just show you this one, Category Manager. That's where you manage the chart of account categories that show up in the cash flow table. And this is just really a cosmetic thing. It's just how you'd like the table to appear. You can create groups like I had done. I did a payroll group. You could maybe group office costs together. So you just create an office cost group, and that's cash out. And then you can put things like cleaning, and things like that, like power and heating, and any of the above really into that. And then you can see how that looks on the table. So some clients will have a giant chart of accounts to manage, and others will have quite a short one. So it just depends how how organized you'd like to be. So we can see the office costs group here. There we go. And then we have the 2 lines underneath as well. And then finally, our reporting tab lives just up here. So you can view, basically here you can set the date range. So if this client wants to look just at the next 3 months or even just at the current month, we can just view, exactly what we want to see. So it's custom date range. And you can hover on, just as you can in the cash flow tab, you can hover your mouse over the line to see the day-by-day balance. And you could view up to, I think you can go up to 3 years, but this is just 18 months. And you can export this as well to a PNG. And then scrolling down you get the same view that we saw earlier, the budget progress view as well. But actually our best report that we do is a PDF report that lives in the cash flow, the main cash flow tab. And you can get to that by this little downward arrow button. You can export to a CSV or a PDF. I'll show you guys a PDF. Give that a second. There we go. So you can see the 2 lines on the graph. It's going to show you basically whatever you're looking at the time. So we've got the scenario view, and then we can see the summaries of just cash in, cash out, net movement, and then below that you get the full breakdown of what has happened in the past and what we think is going to happen in the future as well. And that is pretty much everything other than our customer support. If you are using Float, you can get in touch with us via the app. You can send us a message and start a new conversation here, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Otherwise, you can just email us at support@floatapp.com. So as you can see, Float can work in tandem with Hubdoc to demystify your clients' numbers. Hubdoc streamlines and automates the bookkeeping side, while Float takes that data and helps you project how much cash your clients will have in the future. Back over to you, Jeff.
Great. Thank you, Harriet. Really appreciate that in-depth demo. I'm just going to share my screen again so that I could showcase some of the promotions that we currently have running. Jumping in. Harriet, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. So in celebration of the announcement that Hubdoc was acquired by Xero, we've teamed up with Xero to provide accounting and bookkeeping partners with one of two promotional options. If you are new to Hubdoc and you have yet to set up an account and or sign up a client, we're allowing you to try Hubdoc for free for 6 months for up to 5 clients. This is a really awesome promotion. The offer is valid until September 30th. That we definitely encourage you to take advantage of and to see if Hubdoc is potentially the right fit for you, your practice, and your clients. If you are an existing Hubdoc customer, you can go to the same link showcased on the screen, hubdoc.com/Xero-promo, and we're offering existing customers an additional 20% off each of their clients that they add onto Hubdoc from now until September 30th. So definitely encourage our partners to take advantage of these awesome promotions. And last but not least, it's worth noting that Hubdoc partners with accounting and bookkeeping practices. Because of that, we offer accountants and bookkeepers access to a free VIP Hubdoc account for their practice for life, so they can test out the product themselves and or use it on their own books. So highly encourage practices taking advantage of those offers. All of those offers can be found at hubdoc.com/Xero-promo. So I'm just going to pass the mic over to you, Harriet, because I know that you also have a special offer.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, we do. We also have an offer for you guys. So we're offering 50% off Float for 3 months for our accounting and bookkeeping partners. So if you just go to the link there, so we also have a promo there that you can sign up for. Even if you're on QBO, that's fine. You can be on either of those software platforms. And this gives you, as well as a free account with Float, you get 10 users and 10 scenarios per client, unlimited staff member logins, a free training session for your staff, and then obviously 50% off our already discounted pricing. So that also is that offer is valid until the 30th of September. So do take advantage of it.
Fantastic. It's worth noting also for Hubdoc, although we are putting on the promotion with Xero, it also applies to anyone using Intuit QuickBooks and or any other third-party application. Awesome. Harriet, thank you so much for taking the time to re-record this webinar with me. Again, for those of you that joined us during the live demonstration, my apologies for the technical difficulties. We hope that you enjoyed this webinar. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at jeff@hubdoc.com or support@hubdoc.com. And then Harriet, one last time with the Float email address.
Yeah, it's support@floatapp.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Hope everyone has a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.